Trey Lance, who was the third overall pick of the San Francisco 49ers a few seasons ago, has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a fourth round pick. This comes after many 49ers fans, many people in the NFL has criticized the 49ers for trading away a lot of draft capital to land Trey Lance. And it seemed that the development, his process was very stalled, due to injury and also being limited as far as having experience as a starting quarterback. I mean, he didn't play that many games his final season at North Dakota State. So he's a Cowboy now. He's the fourth quarterback on that roster. It's expected that he should be the backup to Dak Prescott, who's under a microscope, a big microscope this year. And if things don't go Dak Prescott's way, Trey Lance could find himself next season being the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback. So, real quick, Korea, how do you feel about Trey Lance being a Cowboy? Do you think this is going to be better for him, or do you think it's just his career is already written as being one of the draft busts in NFL history?
Personally, Stacey, my opinion, I wouldn't really say that. I wouldn't say that about Trey Lance, about, him being written off or whatever. I do think it's better for him to be with Dallas just because, the 49ers, like, they weren't really, after, Brock Purdy came in, they weren't really giving Trey Lance that playing time when Purdy came in. And I feel like, Purdy took over, and it was like, he was the starting quarterback. And I feel like, honestly, Lance going to the Cowboys is, a good thing. And I do feel like he would do well for Dallas. It's a big help for them. And like you said, Dak is sort of in the hot seat now because it's either going to be him or Lance that are going to be one of the starting quarterbacks. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how everything will pan out for the season for sure for Dallas. And even just having him a part of that offense, Dallas's offense. And like Trey, he's only played like 8 games in the last 2 seasons. So that's like, I'm hoping that he will get more playing time with Dallas. And I, in my opinion, I do think he will. And, he was, as we know, he was the starting quarterback going into last season. But, Brock Purdy, like I had mentioned earlier. And, he did have an ankle injury in week 2 as well. So that's something we do need to keep in mind. It's not really a big loss for the Niners, if you get what I'm saying. It's not really a big loss for them. I feel like, it's more of a gain for the Cowboys. I do think that they need that offensive help, especially when it comes to their QB situation. In my opinion, the Cowboys, they did want him. They did want Trey Lance, and so that's another thing, they picked him up and, they got him. And now that they have him, I hope that they make good use of him. I hope that they give him more playing time than the Niners did, more opportunities his way and all that. So yeah, I do feel like it's a good move for the 49ers and also for the Cowboys.
I knew going into this season that it was going to be very difficult, damn near impossible for Trey Lance to unseat Brock Purdy as a starting quarterback because of what Purdy did last season, taking over for Jimmy G and taking over for Trey Lance himself, leading the 49ers all the way to the Super Bowl. And his bust stopped there because he got hurt. So, Trey Lance was going to walk in as the number 2, but the fact that the 49ers set their expectations very high for him, and he couldn't unseat Sam Darnold for that number 2 spot. Matter of fact, if you look at their stats in the preseason, they played to a wash, damn near a wash. But they was looking for a lot more from Trey Lance. I'm glad he's going to the Cowboys because I feel like there's going to be a better opportunity for him for his development and
I agree for sure.
and you know he's going to be behind Dak Prescott, who I will pick over Brock Purdy. It's a shame that it's a very unfortunate situation for him, given the success of the 49ers starting quarterback. And also, I feel a way when teams throw away young players, and in this case, a young black quarterback, when they throw him away to the wolves and not get him a fair shake. And it's kind of not Trey Lance's fault. He's been dealt a injury blow, so like that really stalled things. So, far as him being with the Cowboys, like I said, it's be good for development, but I don't know if the ball's going to bounce his way as far as him making his way to being the starting quarterback in the NFL. Dak Prescott has to like play bad, like real bad in order for Trey Lance to get his shot.
That's true.
And I'm looking for Dak Prescott this season to come out hungry, come out on fire. Last season he was heavily scrutinized, and I'm pretty sure if he cuts down on the interceptions, that he'll be fine. But again, like the Cowboys, it's all about postseason success because more than likely they're gonna reach the playoffs. It's about them getting to at least the NFC Championship game. So hopefully for Trey Lance, he can find himself, you know, competing for the starting job once again. Right now, it's kind of cloudy with the Cowboys, so I think he should just take this time, develop, hone in on skills. He only been in the league for 2 years, so he still got plenty of time. And if his number is called, and if his number is called during the season, or if Dak Prescott moves on in 2024, he got to make himself ready, and stay ready. So that's how I feel about Trey Lance.
Yeah, because another thing I want to bring out too is, you know, he is still very young. Like you said, he's only been in the league for like a couple years. And, you know, it's like, another question that I want to ask you is, do you see him staying with the Cowboys long term or short term? Because I personally see him staying with them short term, but I feel like he could maybe like get picked up to another team, but a team that like is in desperate need of like a starting quarterback. Like, you know, like a team that maybe like their quarterback goes down and they feel like the team may not have like a reliable like backup or a reliable third string or something of that sort, you know, and so they want to bring in like Lance or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, you know, he's like a short-term like backup right now for the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, you know? For sure. I think he is a short-term backup. I think he'll be there for a few seasons.
Yeah.
And you know, I think he needs a first shot at being a starting quarterback. And he did when he played, he did do some good things. I know he still got to work on increasing his overall passing completion. I think one year he was like just 60%, another year he was like 57, 58%. So they got to climb up there. But you know, the ability is there nowadays, looking for mobile quarterbacks can use their legs and they can work the short gains, you know, passing to the running back out the backfield, those short routes with the wide receivers in the slot. So he could do some of those things, but for him, it's all about, at this point, luck a bit and what's the golden opportunity. And right now, I just think he's in limbo right now.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I could definitely see that. Like, but he definitely needs to like, prove himself more, come out and show everybody what he's got. Because he's not a bad player, and like you said earlier, I agree when you said it's not his fault because he did get an injury last season. He did suffer from an injury, like an ankle injury. So it's like, that kind of like put him back a bit, because of that injury. So, he's just got to come out strong. And, like you said earlier, for him to get that starting QB position, Dak's got to be playing. His performance has got to be really, really like awful for him to get that position,